Hey guys, and welcome back. In today's video we're heading back to Reddit, but this time we're going to look at some Am I the A-hole stories, wedding related. So the first one is quite a long one, so do bear with. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my sister and parents at my wedding? Ooh, spicy. So I, 29 female, and my fiance, 31 male, are getting married this year. He is my person and is adored by all of my friends, and I feel the same from his friends and family. Note, I didn't say adored by my family. Ever since fiance and I started dating, older sister, 33 female, has been awful towards him. And as a result of refusing her request for me to break things off early on, she's been awful to me too. Parents have always been kind to fiance, but I could tell they had their guard up around him. The week we got engaged, my parents were preparing for a move in the next week, and my sister had just gone through a horrible breakup. I didn't expect any of them to be at our post-engagement celebration, but my sister was. She clearly looked like she didn't want to be there, and brought a random friend as a +1 in lieu of her ex. I was shocked she was there, and immediately she pulled me aside away from everyone to take a picture and FaceTime my parents, and then when we returned to the group at the party, she proceeded to make negative remarks about my nails, outfit, etc. She left after an hour. Fast forward to wedding planning, parents and sister had been uninterested in any details about the wedding research I was doing. Anytime I brought up ideas, they quickly changed the subject. Prior to engagement, parents cornered me on a trip when fiance was out and said they want to contribute under the condition that it would be near their new house and that we keep it small, meaning fiance limits who he invites from his family. To which I responded, we should talk about this with fiance, but we can try our best. So we did. After struggling to pare down the guest list and trying to find an affordable venue in the location they requested, I let them know we were struggling to meet their needs. Ultimately, we just found the conditions too hard to meet, and since we hadn't accepted any money from my parents and there was an abundance of tension every time we tried to talk about it, we let them know that we'd be paying for the wedding ourselves, so they didn't have to stress over their money going towards a wedding that didn't meet their requirements. We made clear our intention was to take financial tension out and go on with the happy times of the wedding planning, but they were offended by this decision we made and uninvited fiance and I from Christmas that year. Okay. 1.5 years later, I'm barely speaking to any of them. We've tried to resolve things over numerous phone calls and in-person meetups, but parents refuse to acknowledge any part they've had. Plus, my sister and I have not talked in nearly 2 years. I want to leave them off the guest list for our wedding coming up this summer because they have been verbally abusive towards me and my fiance, gaslighting, twisting facts. They have also expressed unfounded hostility towards fiance's family because they feel like they rub their big family in everyone's face. Given all this, am I the a-hole? That's a lot to unpack. But no, is my initial response. A wedding, it's really hard when you plan a wedding because in your heart you really want to please everyone. You want to make sure that everyone is happy, everyone is going to be... Oh, it's shadow. Everyone is going to enjoy themselves. You worry about the seating plan. Can you put this person next to this person? Can you invite +1s? Should you do... There's so much that goes into it that it can turn into planning an event for other people. You're not really planning your own wedding, and it is hard and people don't like to hear it, but you do have to be somewhat selfish and you do have to think that actually I'm the one, obviously in this case, paying for it because that's the easiest way forward, it's the least stressful way forward, and you're the one that's going to ultimately have to live with the decision that you make. So I think if you feel it will be more stress for you and you would be more on edge and more tense about this situation and having them there, then I would say no, don't invite them. At the end of the day, it's your day. you only should have the people there that you want to have there. If you and your fiance are both on the same page about this, then cool. Like that's the best place to be. It can be really difficult because I guess you don't really know what's going to happen longer term, how this might affect the relationship going forward. But if you're not bothered about that and you feel like peace of mind, it's just going to be better, then by all means, yes, do that. But I don't think you're an a-hole. I think that you're putting your happiness first, and it's hard to do that, especially if you have a big heart and you're someone who is a people pleaser. Sometimes it's hard to say, actually, I want to do this for me, and you can feel like you are gonna hurt someone and you feel guilty, but it's because you're a good person. So no, I would say that you're not the a-hole, and as long as you and your fiance are on the same page, you crack on. But let's see what the comments say. So we've got the first one. So not the a-hole, but what is going on here really? Why do they all hate your fiance, especially your sister? I thought maybe jealousy for her, but that doesn't explain your parents. What aren't you telling us in the story? What is it about him that they all hate? So then the OP actually goes on to say, parents don't talk to any of their own siblings. They've always been kind to my fiance, but always change the subject when he would bring up his family. Maybe there's jealousy between his parents and her parents, or my family, which would make sense why they specifically requested him to limit who he could invite. They never met his family because they live across the country. There are some questions going on around sort of race and religion and culture, and I don't really want to get into that. But yeah, that potentially could be, but the whole jealousy thing, that is such a good point. The sister has been outright awful to your fiance. Maybe she fancies him. Maybe she's jealous that her relationship broke down and you're happy, and it's hard for her, because it is hard for some people to move on and be happy for other people. I think you're well within your rights to put your happiness first, and if your fiance's family haven't really said anything and haven't had a bad word to say around your parents, then you can kind of see where you'd be. You can almost see what would happen. So, but yeah, not the a-hole. We have been judged. Oh, the next one is going to be controversial. Am I the a-hole for having a child-free wedding? I know this really riles people up about child-free weddings, but let's see what this is about. Hi all, I'm getting married to my fiance in July, and my fiance and I decided on having a child-free wedding at the beginning of planning our wedding. No one on my side or his side of the family have expressed any problem with this. We sent out save the dates around a year ago and mentioned it was an adult-only event and to plan accordingly. Additionally, on the website to RSVP, we had a reminder there, as well as a list of reputable babysitters that my fiance and I were willing to cover if anyone needs childcare, as it can get expensive. No one has had an issue with this until last week. My aunt texted me calling me selfish and horrible that I didn't want my younger cousins, 7 male and 13 female, there on my big day. She even went as far as calling me ableist because they're autistic, and said I was purposefully excluding them from my wedding. She's asking me to make an exception just for them, as most babysitters cannot deal with autistic children. I told my fiance this, and he said that she could find a sitter on her own that she trusts with her children, and we would cover the cost of the care for the weekend of our wedding. This just took me as a shock, as she never said anything about this or expressed any concern when we sent out save the dates. Do I make an exception just for them and let my aunt bring her kids? I spoke with my uncle, and he respects and understands that I want a child-free wedding, and he would come regardless, even if his wife doesn't want to go. Am I the a-hole for wanting a child-free wedding? Tough. First, I don't think you're an a-hole for wanting a child-free wedding. A lot of people don't want children at their wedding because they want to be able to drink and let their hair down, and sometimes they don't feel like they can with children around, or maybe they feel that it will be a slightly different dynamic and atmosphere with children there, and I get that. When I got married, I had 2 nieces, 2 nephews, and they came to the wedding. It was really important for me to have them there, and also my friend had 2 kids which she brought. My other friend was pregnant and had a kid at home. She left her child at home, but obviously she came pregnant. So I gave the option for people because I knew that, like I said, for me having my niece and nephews there was important to me. But also I kind of, you know, if people would want to bring their kids, they could. If they didn't, they didn't. Partly, I think me letting my friend bring, or inviting my friend's kids, also my niece and nephew had people to play with, so it kind of worked out that way. But I know what my niece and nephews are like. They're very self-sufficient in a way. They'll go talk to anyone, they will go and dance, they'll just party the night away with us, and give them enough fruit shoot, it's like they're drunk anyway. So, you know, that was all fine. And for me, like I said, it was important having them there, and it wasn't really a question of having a child-free wedding. However, you're not the arsehole for wanting a child-free wedding. Absolutely not. And I think you did everything right, and you've been really conscious and caring in the fact that you've said, you know what, we don't want children there, that's our prerogative, and here's a list of babysitters we're going to pay for. I don't think they can ask for any more. Now, obviously, I imagine you sent your save the dates out. I don't know if it says, let's have a look. A year ago you sent your save the dates out. So your aunt has been sitting on this information, or hasn't really taken in the information on the website or the RSVP card for a year, but now is starting to get a little bit funny about it. Now, it will be hard, I imagine, because obviously, like you've said, your cousins are autistic, and maybe, I don't know, maybe babysitters do struggle more with autistic children. But again, you've given another avenue around how you can resolve this, and how you can kind of meet her halfway by saying, look, you find who you want, we'll cover the cost anyway. I don't think you're being unreasonable. I don't think you're the a-hole here at all. I think you're being played a little bit maybe by a relative who's trying to break the system and find a loophole. Oh, they're your cousins. Oh, you know, it's family, have family here. Your uncle is obviously really understanding of this, which is great. I just feel like if she wants to be there, she'll be there. If she doesn't, you just kind of let it go and be like, fine, that's okay. But again, like I've said previously, as long as you're okay with your decision, then that's fine. I mean, maybe see what your parents think. Not to sway your decision, absolutely not. I wouldn't say if your mum says have them there, but maybe get a few more opinions. But I really don't think that you've done anything wrong here. In fact, you're standing up for yourself, and you're having your wedding day the way that you want it, which is the point, right? But let's see what you guys say in the comments. Not the a-hole. Your wedding, your rules. None of this was a secret. You gave plenty of notice. That's what I'm saying. Plus, you're going far beyond normal in covering the childcare expenses. Your aunt is being unbelievably unreasonable. It looks like this post got edited because people started commenting about the age difference between her and her husband. Nothing to do with anyone. It's all nothing to do with anyone but her. She's happy, whatever. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of a hard one to go through the notes, because majority of it is saying that you're not the a-hole, which I agree. But like I said, some of the other comments are kind of talking about the age between OP and their fiance, which is, I'm not going to get into that. I don't even know the ages, and it's none of my business. As long as you're happy, I don't care. Here's one That is, again, I've watched so many YouTubers do am I the a-hole videos. This has come up and they've gone, yes, you are the a-hole, you cannot do this. But it's actually an experience I've been through, so it's going to be quite an interesting one. And this is, would I be the a-hole if I told my friend she can no longer be my bridesmaid? I, 24, female and getting married in April. I have my 4 bridesmaids in mind since my engagement party in December. My friend Jen, 21, female, been friends since we were in preschool. She was first choice for my bridesmaid because we're so close and we knew each other the longest. Ever since I offered her to be my bridesmaid, she has been very shady and not involved in anything at all. In December, she didn't make it to my engagement party because she said her son was sick. I understood and let it go. However, she saw photos of our party on social media and said my dress and makeup looked hideous. Okay. I was offended, but she was entitled to her opinion. In January, I went wedding dress shopping. So exciting. She wasn't there because her cat was at the vet apparently. She FaceTimed me, asked me to show her the dress, so I did, and her response that it looked childish and goofy, and she ridiculed me for it not being white. It's a silver ball gown with a lot of details, rhinestones and appliques. Does sound actually really nice. In the same breath, she said it still looks better than what she thought I was going to pick and that she thought I'd pick something uglier. I went for a trial of hair and makeup and she asked in our group chat to show her the results. I did, and she said my makeup choice looked god-awful, my hair was boring. The bridesmaids asked to see our wedding venue and she said it looked small and boring. I went to buy the bridesmaids' dresses with them and she didn't arrive because she claimed she didn't have a car to get there. I brought her dress and made sure they all knew the colour would be powder blue. On Valentine's Day I posted what my fiancé brought me on social media, a bear, roses, candy and gift cards to my favourite places. And she saw it and said that he must be broke and not love me that much not to get me something expensive and tangible. The day of fittings and alterations at my home came for the bridesmaids' dresses and she did not arrive until 3.5 hours later when everyone had already left. Once she arrived, she told me she had another dress in mind anyway, which could be a wedding dress in itself. I told her it's not powder blue, and she said the powder blue is ugly, shocker, and that I'm not even wearing white myself, so what's the big deal? I told her it's my wedding and she's my bridesmaid, and if she doesn't like the dress I picked out, I'm willing to get a different one for her, but it cannot be white. She started calling me an a-hole and saying I'm just mad that she'll look better than me. She then made an excuse to leave. My fiancé says she's acting like a brat and a bad friend ever since I gave her this title. Would I be the a-hole if I told her she can't be my bridesmaid no more? Absolutely not. Throw the whole friend away. Just get rid. That is toxic. That girl has issues. But I think we can actually look at the bridesmaid dresses that you chose if these links work. Oh, they do. Oh, wow. That one's lovely. So this is the bridesmaid's dress in the blue. That's really pretty. Really nice. I like that. And now let's look at the dress that she was proposing. That could be a wedding dress. That would not be appropriate at all for someone to wear to your wedding. I mean, I know it comes in the blue, but even so, you could pass that off as a wedding dress in blue. No. No, thank you. You are not the a-hole here. I think that no matter what you do, you're going to be put down. You're going to be told that it's ugly, that someone else could do better, that she'd look better, that she'd plan a better wedding, that her fiancé will be more handsome, her fiancé would do this and this for her. She's clearly a materialistic person in one respect. When you look at the Valentine's Day thing about how he didn't buy you something tangible, I'm sorry, but gift cards to your favourite places, money you don't have to spend to go to your favourite places, that's thought through. That is thoughtful. That's a really nice gift. What was she expecting? A Louis Vuitton bag? I don't know, Cartier? Like, you're planning a wedding, so regardless of money, you've got other priorities, and you know, you're paying for their dresses and everything. She's clearly out to cause trouble by not turning up on time to dress fittings. Things like your son being sick and your cat at the vet, I get that, like that would be a concern. But things like not having a car to get to the wedding dress shop, well, why didn't you let someone know? And maybe, you know, someone else could have taken her. Someone else could have said, you know, actually, I'm going that way. I'll come and get you. I'll you know, go to the same place. It's really hard being a bride and having to say to someone, you need to step down. I have done it. I did it to my maid of honour, who, as soon as I said, you know, I want to be my maid of honour, things changed. Started arranging a hen do that really would not be anything that I'd want to do. It was things like constantly complaining about the dress that I'd chosen and questioning if I'd ordered the right one and ordered the right size, and you know, mutton dressed as lamb, basically saying that I'm trying to look younger than I am. Just things like that, just things that were ruining my bridal experience. I didn't get to go wedding dress shopping because we got married at the tail end of COVID. I think we could have 60 people, and things like wedding dress shops were still a little bit of a sketchy place. So my dress, which you guys can see behind me, I actually got online. And I don't regret missing that, but I didn't even show her the dress because I was like, you know what, actually, I really don't need to have all this sort of pressure that you're not going to like it and then I'm going to feel uncomfortable. In the end, I did say to her, look, actually, you've got a lot going on. She did have a lot of other things going on. Maybe it'd be just best for you to focus on that and you just come as a guest, like there's no stress because you're not feeling very well at the moment, you've got a lot of illness, and then you can come as a guest. If you're not feeling right on the day, then you're not sort of obliged to do stuff with me, you know. And I said to my cousin, please could you step in. My brothers stepped in as well, and the whole thing turned out amazing. I couldn't be any happier. But it is hard as a bride to say to someone, please step down. I also haven't spoken to this person for I think it's 2 years this year, because things just went down after the wedding that were kind of like unforgivable in a way. So yeah, you're not the a-hole here, but I do think you should evaluate the entire friendship as well. If you're gonna do this, there's gonna be damage anyway from what this Jen person has done to you, but there could be more damage. She could be more spiteful. She may end up turning up to the wedding in that white dress anyway. If you say to her, don't be a bridesmaid. This is just a couple of things you need to be aware of, that repercussions could happen, especially if she is a little bit, what's the word? Vindictive? I don't know. But let's see what you guys say. Definitely not the a-hole for dropping this bridesmaids, and honestly, friendship. At every turn she'd acted nasty and mean. Things do happen, but it sounds like a suspicious number of absences and tardiness for it to be random. I suspect that she's either jealous, is she a single mum? Good point. Or just one of those people who can't stand to see others happy when they are not. I would call her and cut her out of your wedding and life. What I've said. And this is a good one. Not the a-hole, here is how you put it. Jen, I'm sorry, but your words and actions have shown me that you aren't the friend I once thought you were. At this time, I'm not wanting or needing you to be a bridesmaid any longer. Have a nice life. Yes, I do agree that that is one way you could put it. Maybe be a bit softer. But like I said, do be aware that she could just turn up anyway in a white dress with God knows who on her arm if she's got a +1. So yeah, just be aware, but you're absolutely not the arsehole. This is your wedding at the end of the day. Hopefully you're going to have one. That's what I've planned. I've only planned to have one, and I wanted to do what's right for me, and I didn't want the stress of having someone who I knew didn't really support me properly and the way I needed at that time. But that's everything for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this. If you want me to do some more, some different topics, some wedding related stuff. I have some experience I can part, I guess. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.